What happens when the person at the top of the ladder, someone with the power to change everything, decides to step down and live the life of someone at the very bottom? What if they choose to walk in the shoes of their employees to see the world through their eyes? Well, that's exactly what happened when a hotel owner, known for his sharp business sense and ruthless efficiency, decided to check into his own hotel under the guise of an ordinary guest. Let's dive in to see how this journey unfolds and what he discovered about the hidden truths behind his business. Meet Tom Prescott, a self-made man in his early 40s, the owner of Prescott Suites, a small yet luxurious chain of boutique hotels scattered across the country. Tom wasn't a typical hotel owner. He wasn't the kind of person who sat in an office reading reports and reviewing numbers. No, Tom was always involved in the operations, but from a distance, always pulling the strings behind the scenes, ensuring everything ran smoothly. He had built Prescott Suites from the ground up, starting with just one hotel. His hard work and dedication had transformed it into a successful chain. But over the years, something began to bother him. He began to wonder about the people who worked for him. People like the cleaning staff, the housekeepers, the ones who kept the hotel running. He had heard the complaints, but how much of it was true? Were his employees happy, or were they simply working to get by? Tom decided that he needed to find out the truth, and there was only one way to do it. He would check into his own hotel under the guise of an ordinary guest. No one would know who he was, not even the cleaning staff. He would observe from the inside, hear their stories, and learn what it was like to walk in their shoes. Tom walked into Prescott Suites in a small town that was bustling with tourists. The moment he entered the lobby, he was greeted by the usual staff, all smiles and politeness. No one suspected anything. The front desk clerk, Max, who had worked there for 2 years, handed him his room key. "Welcome to Prescott Suites, sir," Max said, his voice friendly but tired. "Thank you," Tom replied, offering a small smile before heading to the elevator. Once inside his room, Tom let out a deep breath. It wasn't a luxury suite like the ones he usually stayed in. This was just a standard room, simple, clean, and comfortable. But as he unpacked his bag and settled in, he couldn't help but think about the people who worked here. What were they going through every day? What was their life like behind the scenes? The next morning, Tom decided to take a walk around the hotel and explore its corners, places that guests usually didn't see. He slipped on a hoodie and jeans, blending in with the crowd. He didn't want to attract any attention. As he walked through the hallways, he passed a small utility closet where he overheard voices. It was the cleaning staff, talking among themselves. Tom paused, listening carefully. There was Henry, the head of the cleaning crew, and Alex, a young man who had recently started working at Prescott Suites. "I'm telling you, Henry," Alex said, "this place is falling apart. The management never listens to us. We work ourselves to the bone, and they don't even care. We're just a number to them." "I know, Alex," Henry replied, his voice full of frustration. "They've been cutting back on hours, and we're expected to clean more rooms in less time. I don't even know how they expect us to keep up. But what can we do? We need the job, right?" Tom felt a lump form in his throat. He had never heard such raw honesty, and it struck him harder than he expected. These were the people who kept his business running, and they were struggling, working long hours with little recognition or support. As Tom continued his undercover journey, he began to spend more time with the staff. He would hang around the break room, casually chatting with workers when they weren't busy. He learned that many of the cleaning staff had families to support, and their wages were barely enough to make ends meet. Some of them had been working at Prescott Suites for years, but their wages had barely increased. One evening, Tom had a conversation with Brian, a veteran cleaner who had been with Prescott Suites since its opening. Brian told him a story that would change everything Tom thought he knew about his hotel. "You know, Tom," Brian said, not knowing who he was speaking to, "when this hotel first opened, we were treated differently. The management cared about us. But over time, things changed. They started focusing on profits, and it felt like the people here didn't matter anymore. We used to get holiday bonuses, paid time off, the whole deal. But now it's just about getting the job done and keeping quiet. Tom was stunned. All these years, he had thought he had built a business where people were respected. He had believed he was a fair employer, someone who cared for his staff. But the reality was different. His employees felt overlooked, undervalued, and unappreciated. Tom couldn't ignore it any longer. He had to know the truth about what had been going on behind closed doors. So he decided to visit Sarah, the manager of Prescott Suites. He had always trusted Sarah. She had worked for him for over 5 years and was considered one of his most loyal employees. "Sarah," Tom began, pretending to be just a guest, "I've been hearing some things from the staff, things that concern me. Can you tell me what's really going on here? Are we really treating the cleaning staff as we should?" Sarah hesitated for a moment before responding. Her eyes dropped to the floor as if she were guilty of something. "I don't know how to say this," Sarah said quietly, "but the budget cuts have been affecting everyone. We're all under pressure to get more done with less. And the cleaning staff? They're doing more than they should be, working long hours with minimal pay. But there's not much I can do about it. If I speak up, I might lose my job too." The words hit Tom like a freight train. He couldn't believe what he was hearing. His loyal employees were suffering, and it was happening right under his nose. Sarah wasn't the problem. She was just another victim of a broken system. Tom knew he had to act. After spending a few more days at the hotel, he left, but not without making a decision that would change everything. He realized that he had been so focused on profits and numbers that he had forgotten what truly mattered: his employees. Back at the corporate office, Tom made a series of changes. He increased the pay for the cleaning staff, restored the holiday bonuses, and implemented a new system that would allow for better communication between management and employees. Most importantly, he made it clear to everyone in the company that no one was just a number. Tom Prescott didn't just own a hotel. He owned the responsibility of making sure his employees were treated with dignity and respect. And from that day on, he vowed never to forget that again. What started as an undercover operation to learn about his employees' lives turned into a life-changing lesson for Tom Prescott. He had entered his own hotel with the idea of gaining insight into the daily struggles of the cleaning staff, but what he found was much more profound. In the end, it wasn't just about fixing the problems. It was about truly understanding the people who made everything possible. And that's the lesson we all can take from Tom's story. Sometimes the truth is hard to face, but it's in facing it that we find the strength to make things right. So what happens when an undercover boss checks into his own hotel? Well, sometimes the heart breaks, but that's only the beginning of the journey toward healing and change. That's the story, friends. I hope you enjoyed it. It was a pleasure sharing it with you all. Don't forget to comment below and let me know where you're watching from. It's always fun to see the global reach of these stories. And if you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button for more amazing stories, tips, and tricks. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye. If you'd like to show some extra love, tap the 3 dots near the share button and send a super thanks.